You're scrolling again.
Right now.
Literally, but mentally, you're somewhere else. Your thumb moves, the screen glows, and another hour evaporates into nothing. You tell yourself you're busy. You tell yourself you're networking, staying informed, staying connected, but deep down you know the truth. You're not building anything. You're watching. You're consuming. You're stuck in the exact same place you were 6 months ago, maybe even 6 years ago. And the only thing that's changed is how good you've gotten at pretending it doesn't bother you. But it does. Every single day, it eats at you. That quiet voice asking why you're not further along, why you're not different, why you're still the same person with the same problems and the same excuses. And here's the part that's going to sting. Disappearing isn't about running away. It's not about escaping your responsibilities or hiding from your life. Disappearing is the most aggressive act of self-reclamation you can commit. It's you saying, I'm done performing, I'm done broadcasting, I'm done letting the world dictate my energy, my focus, and my potential. It's a declaration of war on the version of yourself that's been coasting, and it starts the moment you go silent. Because here's what nobody wants to admit: being visible is killing you. Every notification that lights up your screen is a tiny explosion in your concentration. Every time you post, every time you check, every time you refresh, you're bleeding. You're leaking energy, focus, and momentum into a void that gives you nothing back except a false sense of participation. You think you're staying relevant. You think you're building your brand, maintaining relationships, keeping up. But what you're actually doing is fragmenting your mind into 1,000 pieces, and none of those pieces are working on the thing that actually matters: your transformation. The cost of visibility is invisible until it's too late. You don't notice the hours. You don't notice the shallow thinking. You don't notice how every time you break focus to check a message or post an update, you're training your brain to be weak, distracted, and dependent on external validation. And the cruelest part, the people you're performing for don't even care. They scroll past your updates in seconds. They forget you exist the moment you leave their feed. You're trading your potential for crumbs of attention from people who wouldn't notice if you disappeared tomorrow. And that's exactly what you need to do: disappear. Not because you're weak, but because you're finally strong enough to realize that the game you've been playing is rigged against you. Every minute you spend being seen is a minute you're not spending becoming someone worth seeing. So let's talk about what you're actually becoming if nothing changes. Look at yourself honestly. Not the version you post online, not the version you pretend to be when people ask how you're doing. The real version. The one who's tired. The one who's frustrated. The one who knows they're capable of more, but can't seem to break through. You're becoming a ghost, a hollow shell performing a life you don't even recognize. You wake up, you go through the motions, you check the boxes, and at the end of the day, you collapse into bed with nothing to show for it except exhaustion and the sinking feeling that you wasted another 24 hours. And tomorrow you'll do it again, because that's what happens when you prioritize being visible over being valuable. You become a performer in a play nobody's watching, and the only person you're fooling is yourself. The worst part isn't the mediocrity, it's the acceptance of it. You've stopped expecting more from yourself. You've adjusted your standards downward so many times that you don't even remember what ambition felt like. You used to have dreams. You used to have fire. Now you have notifications and distractions and a calendar full of obligations that don't move you 1 inch closer to the person you're supposed to become. And if you keep going like this, in 5 years you'll look back and realize you spent half a decade treading water, and the only thing you have to show for it, it is a social media presence that nobody remembers and a life you're too numb to hate anymore. But it doesn't have to be that way. There's a different path, and it starts with a choice that will feel insane to everyone around you. You disappear, not physically. You don't quit your job or abandon your responsibilities. You disappear digitally, socially. You delete the apps. You stop posting. You stop responding to everything that doesn't matter. You create a vacuum where the noise used to be, and in that vacuum something powerful happens. You start to hear yourself again. The psychology here is simple but brutal. Isolation breeds clarity. When you remove the constant input, when you stop performing for an audience, when you eliminate the digital heroin drip of validation, your mind clears. Suddenly, you can think in straight lines again. You can focus for hours instead of minutes. You can actually build something instead of just talking about building something. Silence breeds creativity. Every great idea you've ever had came in a moment of quiet, in the shower, on a walk, in those rare moments when your phone was dead and you had nothing to do but think. That's not a coincidence. Your brain needs space to create, and you've been suffocating it with constant stimulation for so long that you've forgotten what it's like to have an original thought. And here's the part that will change everything. Invisibility breeds power. When nobody's watching, you're free. Free to fail, free to experiment, free to become someone completely different without the weight of expectations or the fear of judgment. You're not performing anymore. You're building. And in 90 days of invisible work, you can accomplish what most people don't accomplish in 90 months of visible distraction. Now let's get tactical. What do you actually do during these 90 days? First, you establish non-negotiable deep work rituals. You pick your 3 most important hours of the day and you guard them like your life depends on it, because it does. No phone, no internet, no interruptions, just you and the work that will transform your life. Maybe it's writing, maybe it's coding, maybe it's building a business or mastering a skill. Whatever it is, those 3 hours are sacred, and everything else bends around them. Second, you stack skills aggressively. Most people spend their lives getting marginally better at things that don't matter. You're going to spend 90 days getting dramatically better at things that compound. Learn to write clearly. Learn to speak persuasively. Learn to build things with your hands or your mind. Pick 3 skills that, when combined, make you rare and valuable, and attack them with obsessive focus. Third, your body transforms. You're in the gym 6 days a week, not because you want to look good, but because physical transformation is the visible proof that you can change anything about yourself. Every rep is evidence. Every meal is a decision. Every morning you wake up sore and stronger. You're reinforcing the belief that you control your reality. Fourth, you rewire your mind. You read for an hour every day. You journal. You reflect. You identify every weak thought pattern, every excuse, every limiting belief, and you burn it out of your system. You stop consuming content and start creating thoughts. You stop being entertained and start being educated. This is where the real work happens. Not in your hands, but in your head. And here's what makes this protocol so powerful. Nobody sees it happening. You're not documenting the journey. You're not posting progress pics. You're not asking for encouragement or accountability from strangers on the internet. You're just grinding in silence. And every day you're becoming someone your old self wouldn't recognize. This is where legends are built, not on stages or in front of cameras, but in garages and bedrooms and early mornings when the rest of the world is asleep. You're not trying to be impressive, you're trying to be undeniable. And then after 90 days, you come back. But you don't come back as the same person. You come back sharper, stronger, clearer, more focused than anyone around you. People notice immediately. They don't know what happened, but they can feel the difference. You move differently. You speak differently. You don't need their validation anymore because you've spent 3 months building something real. And external opinions can't touch that. You've become dangerous, not in a violent way, but in the way that truly capable people are dangerous. You don't need anyone, you don't fear anything, and you've proven to yourself that you can completely reinvent who you are when you commit to the process. This is your moment right now. You can keep doing what you've been doing. Staying visible, staying distracted, staying stuck. And in 90 days, you'll be exactly where you are now, maybe a little more numb, a little more defeated. Or you can disappear, you can go dark. You can commit to 90 days of invisible work and emerge as someone completely different. The choice is yours, but understand this time is going to pass either way. 90 days from now will come whether you use them or waste them. So what's it going to be? Are you going to keep performing a life you're not living? Or are you finally ready to disappear and build the one you actually want? The clock is already running.